Closing arguments will be made in court today as the Ghomeshi Trial enters its final days.
So this is an organized smuggling operation.
Canada will be helping NATO and the Aegean Sea to stop illegal smuggling of refugees between Turkey and Greece. And Toronto gets its first real taste of winter this year. Temperatures are expected to drop, making it feel like minus 25 today. Hi, and welcome to Humber News. I'm Mahnur Yaver, coming to you from our newsroom here at Humber College North Campus. Final arguments are being made in the trial of former CBC personality John Ghomeshi. The Crown wrapped up his case this morning. Ghomeshi is charged with 4 counts of sexual assault and 1 of overcoming resistance by choking. Our reporter Ryan Durgee was in the court and has the details.
I'm outside Old City Hall, where the Crown and the defense in this John Ghomeshi trial have made their closing arguments. The Crown was up first and brought up previous cases in Canadian law of sexual assault and said that the allegations made in this case are clearly sexual assault. The Crown also said that the fact that the witnesses were in communication with Ghomeshi after the alleged incidents should have no relevance in the case, and that victims of sexual assault often differ in how they respond to the incidents. The Crown also said that the fact that the witnesses took years to report their incidents should also have no relevance, and that they have no reason under case law to explain why they took that long to report the incident. The Crown said that victims of sexual assault often don't report the incidents right away. The defense focused on the inconsistencies between the witnesses' statements to the media, to the police, and in the courtroom, and the defense asked Justice Horkins to consider whether the Crown had proven beyond unreasonable doubt that the incidents described in court were unconsensual. It's all up to Justice Horkins now to decide Ghomeshi's fate. Ryan Durgee, Humber News.
Canada is taking on a role in the global refugee crisis as part of a new NATO patrol announced today. The Canadian warship HMCS Fredericton will be among 3 NATO ships deployed to patrol the Mediterranean. The flotilla will monitor and provide information on smugglers transporting refugees to Europe in dangerous conditions. NATO says it does not aim to stop migrants, but to crack down on criminal syndicates. Reports say more than 400 people have died trying to cross the Aegean Sea so far this year. The number was about a tenth of that at this time last year. Meanwhile, in Turkey, 2 men are on trial for alleged smuggling that led to a capsized boat near a Turkish resort. The capsize killed 3-year-old Alan Kurdi, along with his mother and brother, an image that brought worldwide attention to the refugee crisis. 100 years after Albert Einstein proposed the theory of relativity, scientists now have concrete evidence of gravitational waves. They've observed the waves that gravity produces as they spread outward through the universe. Here's a relatively brief description of Einstein's theory.
And so in Einstein's picture, a massive body makes a depression in the space-time around it, so that other bodies following their natural paths tend to be attracted to this depression.
2 large testing facilities were built on separate coasts in the U.S. to detect ripples of gravity. The project is called the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. The labs were separated to rule out interference from foreign sources such as heavy traffic or earthquakes. Scientists can now use this information to further our understanding of black holes and the universe itself. Fresh off his success in New Hampshire, Donald Trump is trying to win his next U.S. primary, and the Republican is targeting his Democrat rivals.
Who thinks that Hillary is going to make it? Who thinks she's going to be able to run because the Democrats are protecting her? And maybe, first of all, she's got to get through this wacky socialist guy, Bernie.
Trump is in South Carolina days before residents mark their ballots. The Republican primary will be held on February 20th. Meanwhile, Trump's popularity has voters scratching their heads.
Do we want somebody like Trump to be really president? You know, it doesn't bespeak well of democracy, frankly, that people are voting for these morons.
Turning to other Republican candidates, technology executive Carly Fiorina has announced on Facebook that she is ending her campaign. Also, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie says he is suspending his run for the White House. A noisy protest today in South Korea against North Korea's rocket launch last weekend. South Korean activists burned posters of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. They held up signs and ripped apart Korean flags. A protest leader says the people of South Korea strongly condemn the long-range missile launch. To Egypt now, where a train crash has injured more than 100 people. The train was headed north from Aswan to Cairo when it collided with a concrete block. Witnesses say the train was traveling at higher than normal speeds. There are reports that the conductor has been arrested. 2 protests against Uber with different outcomes. The streets of London filled with traditional black taxis yesterday in another international protest against Uber. Thousands of taxis filled the streets of central London from Trafalgar Square to Parliament. But back at home in a news conference yesterday, Toronto cabbies agreed to stop a planned protest during this weekend's NBA All-Star Game. One Toronto councillor urged the public to avoid Uber altogether.
If you are in an Uber X cab right now, get the heck out. Protect yourself. If you love somebody, do not let them get into an Uber cab.
The cabbies called off the protest because they say they didn't want to inconvenience people. Lent is officially underway as Vatican City celebrates a Mass to mark Ash Wednesday. Pope Francis led the procession into St. Peter's Basilica for the Mass. Ashes were rubbed on the heads of the faithful during the traditional ceremony, which was attended by over 1,000 missionaries. It marked the start of Lent, the season that calls on Christians to fast, pray, and give aid to the needy. Ash Wednesday is celebrated by millions of Roman Catholics around the world. We have an update on a story we told you about yesterday. A wild elephant that went on a rampage in West Bengal, India, has been captured. The elephant woke up villagers yesterday morning, roaring and crashing into houses and shops in the area. A forest official says the elephant was lost and got confused after seeing groups of onlookers. They tranquilized him today and managed to get him onto a truck. Officials say that after a thorough health checkup, the elephant will be safely released back into the wild. Here at Humber, students are diving into the discussion about one of our planet's most vital resources. Persis Abraham has the story.
Did you know that 1 in 10 people don't have access to clean drinking water? We're going to Humber's Art Gallery exhibition to find out if water is a resource or a right.
This water exhibit basically explores water in regards to international development. So essentially it looks at water as either a right or a resource. Just looking at how we as people affect water and how our use of it is affecting the Great Lakes and how our use of it is actually affecting climate change.
The exhibit demonstrated 2 different ways water can be filtered.
Stuff in here, it automatically sanitizes the water, and then the clean water comes out in this end. And then as the water goes through, it basically separates the water and like the smaller stuff, so like the rocks and I guess you can say the dirty stuff. So that's what it separates, and then basically the clean water comes out on this end.
We talked to students on campus to see if they think water is a resource or a right and what they do to conserve.
It's definitely a right.
And why?
Because it's vital to your survival. I think that it's obviously important, and to ensure that it's not contaminated is obviously important too. I turn off my shower water when I shave. I think that's good enough.
I just feel like that you should be able to have clean drinking water. And sucks that in some places in Canada that it's like we actually don't have it, so I think it's like Canada should do something about it, like the government should do something about it, because I feel like Canada is a wealthy country and that they should have clean drinking water for everyone.
Water is that natural resource, so in our earth it is really available to everyone.
There's always so much more to know about clean drinking water and the conservation of water. If you want to know more information, go to Humber Galleries on Facebook. Persis Abraham, Humber News.
A special food drive is getting underway at Humber. Next week, food will be collected for 2 remote First Nations communities in northwestern Ontario. Our reporter Tamara Shade has the details.
The Aboriginal Resource Centre at Humber College is holding a food drive.
So it'll benefit northwestern Ontario. We have a lot of students coming here from those regions like Sachiko Lake or Fort Hope.
Boston News says donations of clean drinking water are also welcomed.
So the food drive, it was a partnership presented to us from the Support Staff Appreciation Week Committee. They had this great idea to do a food drive for First Nation communities in remote locations that have to pay a high price just to ship food in.
The food drive runs through Reading Week and is focused at support staff. However, students are encouraged to donate.
But this is more targeted towards support staff, faculty, admin people, and stuff like that.
The blue donation bins are located around Humber College.
Humber College's food drive, benefiting Northwestern Aboriginal communities, runs until February 19th. Tamara Shade, Humber News.
After months of unseasonable mild temperatures, Toronto's finally feeling a real blast of winter. The city has issued an extreme cold weather alert, just the 4th one this year. This time last year, we'd already had 18 alerts, and the bitter cold is going to last well into the weekend. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, Jaleesa Messiah will have your 3-day forecast.
If you thought yesterday was cold, you should probably hibernate for the rest of the week. Today we'll see a mix of sun and clouds with a 40% chance of flurries. The high today will only be -7 and the low -25 this morning with the wind chill. I'll have your 3-day forecast when we get back.
But for now, we leave you with this. It's all glitter, gold, and good spirits at the Rio Carnival. Samba dancers from top-tier schools in Rio de Janeiro were the stars of the final day parades. Colorful dancers paraded through the streets on floats depicting everything from Greek gods to hungry dinosaurs. It's estimated about 70,000 people watched the sparkly spectacle.